Hi everyone, Jewel Mayberry here. I wanted to make a video today talking about Leo Ascendant and what people are like that have that ascendant and what a basic look at their life is like. Because astrology is very, very complex. You have to look at the entirety of the chart. You can't just look at one thing to tell you what a person is like or what you can expect. You have to look at everything. So when you're talking about ascendants, all the houses fall under a certain sign. So you can see a basic map of what somebody with a particular ascendant's life is like. And specifically, you get a really good look at what they attract in a partner, what they're looking for, what they get. And it's a great way to see your own shadow side, to see the things that you don't own in yourself, that you're looking for in someone else, things that you project outwards, things that you're looking for in a partner. You can see those things clearly by looking at the descendant, which is the seventh house in the birth chart. So Leo ascendants, they tend to be extroverts. Now, not always, because you have to, again, look at all things in the chart, because you could have somebody with their sun in the fourth house conjunct Neptune and get somebody that's decidedly introverted. But usually they are more outgoing. What they show you first, the first layer of their personality, is usually more relaxed, more jovial, more outgoing. They're friendly. They like to have attention. They speak well. They usually are really good with their resources because we have Virgo on the second house. And they are usually, not always, because you have to look at everything, but they're usually pretty good with their money. And they are reasonably good at investment. They're not one of the best ascendants at this kind of thing, but they can usually control their finances pretty well. They have Libra, Venus, ruling the third house. Leo ascendant tends to be a good speaker. They tend to express themselves well. Venus is in the house of communication, so they actually love communication. They tend to be good at it. They can be good writers. They can be good speakers. They're nice to listen to because Venus rules that whole area, the speech, and they get their point across rather easily. The fourth house is ruled by Scorpio, and Leo ascendants tend to be very protective of their home environment. They're very protective of their mate and of their children, and the mothers can be a real mama bear, and the fathers have a real just a real paternal way about them in general. The fifth house is ruled by Sagittarius, and usually Leo ascendant people try to bring some kind of religion or spirituality into their children's lives. It's important that they have some kind of understanding of the source. So usually you see a religious upbringing with Leo ascendant parents, but not always. It could be somebody that's, the sun's coming out a little bit better. It could be somebody that is, more inclined to just general spirituality and tries to impart that to their children. But they do try to answer those questions of what's on the other side. Who is the source? Where am I going? Those things are important for them to address with their children. And also education. They like to see their children go on to higher education. They like to see their children achieve more than usually a trade job. You'll see them pushing their children more times than not towards college. Sixth house is ruled by Capricorn, and that makes Leo ascendants actually really good at the daily grind. They can put in the necessary energy to get through a job that is tedious. They can knuckle down when they have to because Saturn rules this house, and they tend to want to structure their work environment, and they don't do well as underlings. Leo ascendant actually does better as either the boss or close to it. And they don't tend to take the talking down to from authority figures well. They want to be more in charge in the work environment, and they actually do pretty good if they can control their ego. There's an issue sometimes with them when they get power in the work environment. They can run with it a little bit, so they have to watch that somewhat. The seventh house, this is the really important house. This is in this video, this is the house that is called the Descendant. This is the seventh house that signals partnerships, what we're looking for in a partnership, what we attract, the things that we don't necessarily own in ourselves or like best about ourselves. All those things are found in this house. And the ruler of this house is Saturn. The modern ruler is Aquarius, and I like to look at both rulers, but I mainly look at Saturn because when I look at lords through houses and rulerships, I always look at the traditional ruler and then look at the modern ruler for a little more information. But Saturn rules this house, and depending on where Saturn is and the aspects made to Saturn, that will give you a clear picture of the mate, the partner that you're looking for. There's also other things in astrology that give you a really good picture of this, like the moon phase that you were born under. Really important. Give you a lot of information about the type of relationship that you keep getting. Different things. But this is mainly the thing that we look for in astrology, is the descendant, to show us what the partner is going to be like. So, depending on where that planet is, where Saturn is it's in the first house, the 12th house, the 4th house, the 5th house. It could be anywhere, and whatever planets it's sitting with or what aspects it's making to house cusps, to outer planets, to inner planets. You want to look at everything. That will give you a clear picture. So what mainly Leo Ascendant is looking for is a showy type, somewhat brilliant and eccentric partner. They want someone that is unique, that stands out, that is different from the rest. And they usually get it. Oftentimes, they attract somebody who is very Aquarian, because we have Aquarius ruling this here. And they will bring into the marriage, after marriage, a spirituality that was not there before. It doesn't necessarily mean that Leo Ascendant is going to go along with it, but that is what they end up bringing into the home after marriage. Because after marriage, we see the 8th house. And the 8th house shows us what we get after the partnership. And we have Pisces here, Jupiter ruling this. So these people, Leo Ascendants, it's an interesting polarity because it's a kind of a me in the first house versus letting go and learning about the other in the 7th house, more so than other signs. There can be more divorce with Leo Ascendants because Saturn rules this house. And you really, really want to make sure to be careful about early marriage when you have this descendant. It does so much better for people if they can get married after their first Saturn return around 28, 30. They will have a lot better luck. We usually statistically see a divorce if we see an early marriage with this descendant. It's best to wait. A Leo rising doesn't necessarily learn about themselves as soon in life as other rising signs do, and they need that extra time to themselves to develop their own selves before they attach to another. Ninth house is ruled by Aries, so we have Mars there, and they tend to be very stick-to-itive about their belief system. Leo rising, whatever it is, even if it's, otherworldly spirituality or aliens or Scientology or Catholicism, it doesn't matter. They're very, very much into this is the way it must be because this is the way that I believe. And it can take some maturity for them to get beyond that view. And a lot of them do, it's just a challenge. And depending on where Mars is placed, that can be a big issue or not really an issue. It can just be a flavor of the life. So 10th house, we have Taurus, and they tend to be very, how do I want to say? They don't leave jobs readily. When they get a career, when they have a career, they tend to stick with it. They tend to try to make something out of it. They don't, as much as other signs, they don't leap from one thing to another, to another, to another. There's a sense of needing security and the solidity of knowing that that everyday job is going to be there for them. So even if they're in something that they don't necessarily love, Leo Ascendants will stick with it because there's a paycheck involved and they can see retirement coming. They have a clear view of the future, where a lot of other ascendants live more in the now. Leo Ascendant actually has a really good ability to see into the future and to plan for the future. And you see that here with that fixed sign Taurus here on the 10th house. The 11th house, we have Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, and they tend to have a larger social group. Not always, because I have known a lot of Leo Ascendants that had one or two friends, because again, you have to look at the ruler of the 11th house. It might be placed in a very introverted way. But the majority of the time, in the work environment especially, friends and friendships at work are very important to them. They tend to have a pretty good reputation for being affable and friendly and making a lot of jokes in the workplace. And there's a lot of communication in the workplace as well. And with friends, there can be a lot of texting or verbal communication that's really important to them in a friendship. 12th house, we have Cancer. And it's an interesting placement because wherever Cancer is ruled by the moon, and it will signal the ups and downs in life. And, wherever the moon is placed or where, Cancer is or in the 4th house, those three things will show you where the ups and downs in one's life are. And on the 12th house, they tend to do really well emotionally, or they're really not doing well. They're struggling. So, they can have some ebbs and flows when it comes to their dealing with things emotionally in life. And they tend to be very more private about their spiritual beliefs and about their spirituality. They're driven in the sense that they believe what they believe, but they're not ones that will go out and readily recruit. They tend to keep their beliefs more personal and close to the vest. And that's my short, well, medium short video on Leo Ascendant today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, me and Seth are around to help you and to teach you the real secrets of astrology, not the junk that you read in the paper that has absolutely no truth. Your sun sign really is not going to tell you much. You need to look at everything and consider everything in astrology because it's a very complex science. And I will be back soon with another video. Thank you for joining me. Bye, guys.